In this video, I want to talk about the reality that 80% of low content books will fail, but not for the reasons you think. Today, I'm showing you the reason why 80% of self-publishers struggle and how exactly you can be in the top 20% that do succeed. Hi, I'm Caroline. Welcome to my channel. Every single week, I share videos all about self-publishing books so that you can build your own self-publishing business selling low and medium content books on Amazon. Today, we are diving into a topic that might ruffle some feathers, but it needs to be said. The truth is that most low content books published on Amazon will fail. They don't sell. They sit in the KDP dashboard collecting digital dust. And the worst part is a lot of people quit because they think that self-publishing doesn't work, that it's a scam, when in reality, it's how they are doing it that is broken. If you have ever published a journal, a coloring book, or a notebook and thought, why isn't it selling? What am I doing wrong? Does this even work anymore? You are not alone. But today I'm going to show you exactly what's going wrong for 80% of publishers and how to be in the top 20% who are actually building a real income and real success through this business. I've been self-publishing low content books for years, and I've tested hundreds of books, tools, designs, and strategies. And what I'm sharing with you in this video isn't a theory. It's based on what I've learned through trial and error and real results, and a whole lot of persistence. Here's the thing a lot of people won't tell you. You don't need 1,000 books. You don't need to be a designer. You do not need to be an expert in anything. And you definitely do not need to follow what everybody else is doing. What you need is clarity, strategy, a little bit of patience, and the right mindset. In this video, I'm going to break down the 6 biggest reasons why most low content books fail, from poor design to keyword mistakes to giving up too soon. And I'm going to give you practical, real world tips to fix each one. And these aren't those vague recycled tips either. I'm talking about the difference between a book that has a BSR of 5 million and one that quietly brings in sales each and every week. The difference between being a hobbyist, a hobby self-publisher, and someone creating a real business, self-publishing low content books. So if you are tired of uploading and hoping, if you're ready to finally publish books that get seen, that get bought, and actually help people, you are in the right place. By the end of this video, you are going to understand why most people fail and how to avoid their mistakes, what successful self-publishers do differently, and how you can start shifting into the top 20% starting right now. Make sure to watch all the way through because each tip builds on the last, and let's just get into it. Here is why 80% of low content books fail and how you can make sure yours doesn't. Firstly, the 80% target oversaturated niches. Okay, here's some real talk. Everyone is self-publishing gratitude journals, cozy coloring books, and flower notebooks. Now, although I don't like to call anything oversaturated because I really don't think that anything can be truly oversaturated. There is always room for new and fresh books, but there are definitely some low content book niches that are extremely popular, extremely competitive. You are not going to break into those markets unless you have a seriously unique angle, and most people don't. Think about it like this. If your niche is already flooded and your book looks like everyone else's, why would anyone or any of Amazon's customers choose yours instead of all the other books that are already selling? So tip number 1, micro niche. In my last video, I went deep into the topic of micro niches, exactly what they are, how to define a micro niche, how to choose one. I'll link that video down in the description box below if you do want to go check it out after watching this one. But just to give you a quick idea of what a micro niche is, it is a much smaller, much more targeted niche within a bigger, general, highly competitive niche. So instead of publishing just a generic journal like a fitness journal, for example, publish a 12-week weight loss journal for postpartum mums, or powerlifting tracker for men over 40. Or as another example, instead of self-publishing just a general everyday kind of coloring book, create a coloring book with a theme of sweet food like cupcakes and lollies and sweet treats, or a theme of the country of Japan. You can see how going from just a general coloring book featuring a bunch of random coloring images to targeting a small, highly targeted niche like a coloring book that is purely for people who like sweet treats, or publishing a fitness journal specifically targeting women who have just had a baby. That is how you micro niche. Tip number 2, use Amazon's search bar and filters to validate low competition sub niches before you publish. Why is this important and such a great way to search for niche ideas? The search bar gives a list of keywords and keyword phrases that customers have actually been typing into the search bar to search for things. So using the search bar for niche ideas is going to give you real life ideas of what books Amazon's customers are searching for and the specific words they are using to find them. No more guessing what kind of books people are searching for regularly. Okay, next up. The book cover just does not cut it. If your cover looks like it was made in 5 minutes using Comic Sans font and clip art, buyers are going to be clicking away. No amount of keywords is going to fix that. The truth is that people do judge a book by its cover, especially on Amazon. And let's take a quick look at some examples. I've just done a search for coloring book, and let's take a look at some of the covers that are within this niche. They're bright, they're easy to read, they're easy to see what type of coloring book it is, and they're really pleasing to the eye. Now, one example I wanted to bring up was this Easter eggs coloring book, and what we're going to be doing is comparing it to these top selling books, and it just doesn't stand out the way that these ones do. Another quick example I want to have a look at is this one, an animal coloring book. This is sort of that perfect example of just using what looks like some free clip art. There's not really much thought put into the font, the title, making that title stand out, and it definitely doesn't fall in line with these highly professional, really high quality coloring book covers. And unfortunately, you have to look at it from the point of this book cover is going to be compared to all of these. The customer wants the best quality for their money, and these couple of covers, unfortunately, just do not compare. They just don't stand up to these kinds of covers. So you have to think about what your cover looks like on this page amongst all these thumbnails of coloring books. And even here in this line of books, when you're looking at these 4 books all along that row, you look at these covers and think, which one are customers going to be clicking on? Which cover is going to make the customers click through to find out more about the book and hopefully buy it? And so this one's just another one that just isn't comparing to these ones. These are all the best-selling coloring books, and your cover has to be as good as, if not better than, all of these best sellers. So tip 1, use bold, clean fonts, strong contrast, and proper alignment. Study what is working, and then you have to match that level of quality. Also, another tip within that tip is study the trends of what the best-selling books use. And this does change over time. Things come and go, trends come and go, and that is in terms of the type of fonts, the colors, the style of design. One of the classic ones is the trend at the moment of this square shaped format of coloring book. People are not publishing coloring books in this 8.5 by 11 style at the moment. It is just not being done. This square shaped is the trend. And so these are the sorts of things you need to look at and get on board with, because that is what Amazon's customers want at the moment. Something else that is really popular at the moment is this big bold text for the title, which is always white with a black outline, and then the subtitle is in a similar kind of font, just a bit smaller and in black. Those are the sorts of things you need to look out for and pick which ones you want to incorporate into your own cover. Tip 2, Canva, Affinity, and even Microsoft PowerPoint can produce you pro-level covers if you take your time and learn how to use all the features of the tool that you are using. Canva is free to use if you do not want to pay to be able to use one of the other graphic design tools like Affinity and like Adobe Photoshop. And Be honest with yourself about your skills. If design is not your thing, outsource it. Your cover is not the place to cut corners. You can get a cover made quite affordably on Fiverr, which will give you something professional, something high quality that will equal all those other professionally designed covers on Amazon. You do not want your covers to look cheap or amateur, as this is going to determine whether a customer decides to click on your book instead of the others. Next up is the interiors of the books offer no real value. Blank notebooks with generic phrases like "just breathe" slapped on the cover are everywhere. That is not value. If your book doesn't actually help the buyer with something, track something, plan something, achieve something, it's not really worth buying. Now, yes, you can create those plain kind of notebooks where your main focus is going to be the cover design, but your notebook cover will need to be the best of the best while also being unique and different. But not only that, it is a massive niche, which can be very hard to crack into. I'm not saying it can't be done though, if you are willing to put in a lot of time and effort. So if that is not something that you want to do, then you will need to create something that isn't just pretty, but something that actually serves a purpose and helps a customer with a problem that they are having. So tip 1, ask yourself, what problem is this book solving? Every book needs to have a purpose. Tip 2, add structure. And this is what is going to help set your book apart from the others and also give it some sort of uniqueness. It's also going to give the customer more value and more reason to buy your book. Think prompts, checklists, trackers, planners, or just something that is going to be related to the niche that you are creating books for. The more useful your interior, the more repeat sales that you will see. Next, they don't know how to use keywords. Nobody is searching Amazon for notebook, for happy, mindful life, positive vibes, gratitude, manifesting journal workbook. That's keyword stuffing. And maybe 4 or 5 years ago, that would have worked. Amazon definitely does not tolerate this anymore, and it is not a great experience for Amazon's customers. You can have the best book ever, but if no one finds it, it is practically a ghost. Tip 1, use free tools or the Amazon search bar autocomplete feature to find what buyers or Amazon's customers are actually typing in the search bar to find books like yours. I talked about this a little earlier in the video. Tip 2, make your title readable and keyword smart, and remember to be very specific to the type of book that you are creating. Think along the lines of meal planner for busy families instead of awesome weekly eating tracker, meal calendar, fitness, women, mum, kids. That is not what Amazon's customers are typing into the search bar. When it comes to your keywords, it's not the time to be creative and try something out of the box or trying something different. Find what keywords Amazon's customers are using to find books like yours and use those keywords. Next up, they treat it like a hobby and not a business. Publishing a few random notebooks and hoping that they sell is kind of like opening a store with no sign, no inventory, and no plan whatsoever. People talk about self-publishing and low content books as a passive income business. Passive income is where you earn money without doing any kind of additional work. So essentially you can create something once and then it sells forever and you can sit back and do nothing and the money just comes in. Self-publishing isn't a passive income business, but it can be passive after you do the work. Once you create a book and publish it, it has the potential to sell forever without you doing anything additional to it. But on the other hand, you do need to continuously be creating books and working on your brand. So it will never really be a truly passive income business. So tip 1, think long-term. Plan out your books in series or collections or around targeted themes. Once you have created or completed one series of books, start planning and working on the next one. Always be building on what you have already created. And tip 2, invest time in understanding design, keywords, trends, and tracking your analytics, just like a real-world business owner would. This is a real business, so you should treat it like one. And lastly, they give up way too soon. Most people give up before they even give Amazon's algorithm a chance to notice them. Your first few books probably will not sell well, and that is totally normal. The winners just stay in the game longer than the rest. A huge part of self-publishing is consistency and persistence. Tip 1, commit to publishing, let's say around 10 or so high quality books over the period of a few months before you start judging your results. This is going to be your experimenting and learning phase. And tip 2, track what works. Improve your next books and optimize. Don't abandon. Success comes from iteration. It is so easy to want to jump to the next thing because you don't see immediate results. I have done this myself in the past, or maybe you see someone else having some kind of success that you want, so you move on to something else. But stick to your plan and focus, and things will eventually start working. Most people fail in this business not because it's too hard, but because they don't take the time to learn how to do it right. If you're willing to niche smarter, design better, add real value, and stay consistent, you are already way ahead of the 80% who have already given up. Winning at low content book publishing is not about luck. It's about a smart strategy, patience, and treating this like the real opportunity that it is. If you did enjoy this video, YouTube thinks that you might like these ones too, so please go check them out to learn more about self-publishing your own low and medium content books on Amazon. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.